opportunities for businesses in 2025 remain cost management, financial performance, and growth. She has layoffs and increasing workplace flexibility remain top strategies companies use to improve their bottom line. I'm Freda Ross, Arkansas News Service. Find your trust indicators at publicnewsservice.org.
It's me. It's you right here. Is it up loud enough? Did you pass me my water out of my book bag?
Segregation, feed the nation so there's no family, Muslims, Jews, Christians. We all hold hands every week on the beach. Party by the sound, word up. Take trips on Air Force One. Don't need to bring no this with no sleeps. The Air Force One, better schools than our hood, better teachers for the classes. Making money, paying no tax. Find the best scientists, tell them come up with an answer. I want to cure for AIDS and pain, but I gotta watch my back. Snipers on the hill with the steel. Waiting shit every day.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
You.
Yeah.
My goodness.
Whoa.
Thank you all so much for joining us. We are live right here at KABF 88.3 FM, where we are the voice of the people. You are tuned in to Community Voices right here with your host, the Reverend Dr. Denise, and your co-host, the Pastor Tony R. right here in the house. I got to keep cutting down these headphones because he's about to drive me crazy up in here. Thank you all so much for all of the ways that you continue to show up for us. We want you to always remember that it is not lost on us that we would not be here were it not for you. You are the reason that we are able to show up 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, with the purpose of informing and educating and enlightening us so that we can do the things that make us who we need to be, that help us to navigate this world in the way that we need to. And so we are grateful for your presence. And so in the spirit of Salvon, especially on this day, to remind us of the oneness that we have, because we are all humans and we are bound together by our humanity. And so because of that, regardless of the differences of opinions, regardless of the differences in identities, regardless of whatever differences we may have, we are one in the human spirit, and we are welcoming you in that spirit, in this space, to share whatever your thoughts and feelings are, because the phone lines are absolutely open at 501-433-0088, at 501-433-0088. Already on the air with us, Hotep in the house, Bureau Chief Pat Ward in the house, Keith Harper in the house, DJ Levi in the house. Hey, what's up? Thank you all so much for being here with us. I want to make sure that we give your co-host, it seems like he's on fire. He want to say something. So let me let you be greeted by your co-host this morning. How are you, Tony?
I'm doing okay. That the song was always so appropriate for today. Yeah, it's so appropriate for today. But I just want to thank everybody for tuning in. It's been, I think it's been a couple of weeks since I've been on Community Voices. Been traveling a lot. Just want to remind everybody that we're in Pledge Drive. Just want to thank you, all of you who over the 40 years who have contributed to the sustainability of KBF. Just celebrated a 40th year anniversary. We're heading to year 41. So as always, you can go to www.kabf.org and you can click the donate button. And while you're there, you can also become a sustaining monthly member of KBF at 88.3. Your monthly contribution will go to the sustainability of KBF. You can also call 501-372-6119 and give a pledge of donation to our program director, Charles Ray. You can call one of your favorite shows at 501-433-0088. You can give a pledge of donation on the phone that way. You can send a check or money order to 2101 South Main Street here in Little Rock, 72206. And if you're just out and about, want to stop by the station at that same address and come on up the steps, we'll make sure that you're giving your pledge in person or donation in person. Make sure you leave with something, some CDs, a T-shirt, a hat, a coffee mug, something to show our appreciation. And as always, if you are looking for some CDs to complete your CD collection, we have a plethora of CDs that you can have, and they're free. And there's no limit on how many you can take. You can take 2, you can take 3, you can take a handful, you can take a box full. It's up to you. But just always, we like to remind our listening audience that there are CDs to be given away for you, and they're free.
Speaking of Pledge Drive, I should have made this announcement a few weeks ago, but earlier in last month, because it's November, last month we had Bob Nash on the show, and we made the announcement about our 40th celebration. And when I think on the air, he said that he was going to pledge to the station his $40 because we were challenging people $1 for every year, and he absolutely kept his word. A lot of times people will say, I'm gonna pledge, but they never do. But he actually kept his word, sent it to me in the mail. I'm talking about snail mail. I'm like, okay, Mr. Nash, I see you. So I would definitely make sure that your pledge is recorded. I will get that receipt out to you today. But want to make sure that I thank you so much for your support in all of the ways that you support us, not just by coming on the show, not just by pledging, but just that the work that you have done and the work that you continue to do. We are so appreciative. Want to make sure that we get this announcement right, this comment right here from Lo. He says, it's election day. Vote as if your life depends on it, because it does. And it is absolutely election day, November 5th, 2024. before, and the polls are already open. They are open from 7 a.m. to 7 p.m. As long as you are in line before 7 p.m., if the clock strikes 7 while you are in line, they cannot turn you away. You still have the opportunity to vote, even though officially the polls close at 7 p.m. So don't let anybody tell you that the polls are closed while you're standing in line. Now, if you outside the door, it's going to be too late. They don't have to let you in. But as long as you are in the room and you are in line and you are ready, then they have to let you vote. We're going to be talking about voting all day today. We did not schedule a guest so that we could talk about voting all day today. But before we get into that, before we ground our conversation in the song and also in the EJI tidbit, I do want to continue to lift up Ezekiel and also Tim. Ezekiel lost the mother of his son like 2 weeks ago, and Tim around the same time lost his father. And Tim's father's celebration of life was this past weekend. I'm assuming that Ezekiel has had theirs as well. And so I know that this is a difficult time for them and their family. And I want them to know that we're on the journey with them. We're not going to just mention this one day and we're not going to think about it anymore. But we are on the journey with you during this season of bereavement. And we're going to always keep you high and lifted up as you go through this new season, like what it's like to live in this new way without the people that have been present with you for so long. So I want to make sure that we lift them up. And I do want to make sure that we pause for a moment for Quincy Jones,
Yes.
who died at the age of 91. So he has a musical legacy that is, I mean, it's
Unparalleled.
Yeah, it's unparalleled. So
Nobody.
It's something. It's the legendary Quincy Jones. So let's just pause for a minute as we remember all of them, as we remember Tim, as we remember Ezekiel, as we remember Quincy Jones. Thank you all so much. So the song is "If I Was President." This is by Wyclef Jean.
Jean.
Yes, Jean, because he has an accent, so he's French. So that's Jean. And so he's having this conversation and he says, if I were president, first of all, I would get elected on Friday. I would be assassinated on Saturday. Hey, it's my brother. Hey, Wayne. My brother's in the house. Dwayne Darnell, you talking about legendary. My brother is a legendary in the field of coaching in Florida. He just got his first championship at the the Christian school. He at the Christian school now, y'all.
What up, Luke?
He done moved from public to private. And so he's doing things. And he said, he says, morning, Tony.
What's up?
And he said he loved my glasses. Okay. So he clowning with you. So thank you for Dwayne. Oh, my brother in the house. So he said, I would be elected on Friday. I would be assassinated on Saturday. I'd be buried on Sunday. And they would just go back to work on Monday. Like they wouldn't think twice about the fact that I just lost my life. Because if I were president, I would redistribute these funds. All this money that we're spending on the military, I would make sure that we're spending it on the poor. Because I would make sure that we are honoring every single life. Because some people are so poor that the only time that they get to take a shower is when it rains outside. So if I were president, I would make sure that Black people got their reparations. I would make sure that people who have differences across the lines of religion were able to stand in unity and be able to just enjoy each other, even at the beach. If I were president, I would make sure that all of these things get done that mean, that show, that demonstrate that we are really concerned about your quality of life. If I were president. So if I were president, I wouldn't last long. Because what we are doing in this world, we vote for people that's not going to do the right thing, not going to do the good thing, not going to do the just thing, not going to do the equitable thing. They're going to do the stuff that gets them the brownie points from their constituency. And so they're the ones that end up in office a long time. But if I were president, I wouldn't last long because I'm going to get the work done that needs to be done. And that reminded me so much. I thought it was a great song for the EJI tidbit for today, which is coming from October 4th. Not today, it's coming from October 4th. So on October 4th November 4th. On November 4th in 1890, Benjamin Tillman, a white supremacist who advocated violence against Black voters and opposed education for African Americans is elected governor in South Carolina. Let me read that again. On November 4th, in 1890, Benjamin Tillman, a white supremacist who advocated violence against Black voters and opposed the education of African Americans, is elected governor of South Carolina. So here you have a politician who is a supremacist, which means that he believes in the caste system, and he believes as a white person, he's at the top of the caste system. He believes that the caste system has dedicated the lowest rungs of Black folks, and so Black folks are inferior to him as a white person, and he's gonna make sure that you know that he is against anything that has to do with the forward movement, the progression of Black folks. We don't want them to vote, we don't want them to be educated, we don't want them to have any kind of humanity. We don't want to honor their humanity. We don't even recognize their humanity. We're going to treat them as they are less than human, subhuman, according to the Constitution, right? That's what the Constitution says, 3/5 of a person. And so he says this out loud. He advocates violence. I'm pushing you. I'm encouraging you. I'm promoting you to cause harm, to create systems, create environments that will traumatize people. I'm asking you to do that. I'm encouraging you to do that. He is making this known. He is not shy about it. And yet the people vote for him anyway. And here we are on election day in the United States of America. And you've got one candidate in particular who sounds just like Benjamin Tillman, one who advocates violence. In this case, not just against Black folks, but against immigrants too, against people who are LGBTQ, against people who are of trans experience, against women who have the audacity to want control over their own body. We have a candidate that is not shy about saying that I want you to make sure that you create an environment where people are scared and they are terrorized and they are traumatized. I'm promoting that. I'm encouraging that. And there are some of you who are contemplating in this moment voting for him because you don't want a person like Wycliffe Jean that will say, hey, I'm getting ready to get the work done. I'm getting ready to make sure that we keep the main thing, which is people. People are the main thing, not corporations, not lobbyists, not special interest groups, not single issue people. We are talking about the whole of humanity. We are trying to live into the spirit of Salbona. I want you to vote for a person like that, not a Benjamin Tillman. And some of you need to realize if you vote for Donald Trump, you're voting for Benjamin Tillman, and you're going to give him an opportunity to wreak havoc, especially on Black folks, but also on other non-white people. And Wycliffe Jean is saying, listen, y'all need to pay attention to what's happening, and you need to elect a person that they would be willing to assassinate because they know that we got to get him out of here because he really is trying to do right by the people. Oh, wait a minute. Deidre is reminding us, Wycliffe is Haitian, not French. Correct me. I don't mind being corrected. Wycliffe is Haitian, not French. I know Jean comes from the French, though. And so that's what I was thinking. Jean, if I'm going to pronounce it right, I got to think about the French pronunciation. So that's what I was thinking about. But he is Haitian, y'all. Don't go out here and say he's French. According to Deidre, he is Haitian. So
yeah, he's Haitian, just like a lot of the West African countries that were colonized by France. So he's Haitian, but the language is French.
Yes, and that's what I do. I think when I'm trying to figure out something, I try to get to the root, like what's the source, and so I was thinking about that.
And there's a couple of points I want to bring up, but I do want to say this. A lot of people, when we talked about Quincy Jones and his legendary career that was unparalleled, I just want to mention this for a second. Dwayne Donnell. He's a Hall of Fame coach, high school coach in the state of Florida, who has influenced so many young women in being a coach. And to be a Hall of Fame coach, that means that in a way you are a legendary coach. Absolutely. And it bothers me, and to show the how things work, it bothers me that it's no way that some college, some university in the state of Florida would not have came to him and said, hey, we recognize your accomplishments. We see what you do. We want to offer you a position, or we want to give you the opportunity to accomplish these things at a higher level. Yeah. Instead, they will go and they will hire a white coach who hasn't accomplished anything, who continues to lose, who continues not to influence the athletes that are under his care, but under their care, and continue to get them those positions. So I just want to bring that out because it goes back to what we're talking about. Is that why is it things being distributed the way they should be distributed? Why aren't things people are being elevated and people are being looked at on the accomplishments that they had instead of the color of their skin? And another thing, why Cliff John is saying that this piques my mind, it always piques me, is when there's a verse in there we say we all, will ride on Air Force One. So we are giving money to these elected officials. Our tax dollars are going to the well-being of their lives. We pay for their housing, we pay for their transportation, we pay for all of this. But when we ask, can you help me pay my car payment? Can you help me buy food? Can you help me have health care? Can you help me make ends meet? No, 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 because you need to help me. And that's the thing that we need to start looking at as we start to look at who we are electing. What are they really going to do for us? And what do they need to offer us as individuals?
And so Deidre has a response to that, and she says that's because mediocrity rules. Whenever you allow the system of whiteness to prevail in any arena, in any area, you're going to be dealing with mediocrity. And so that is what we have to remember. So when you think about who do I want to choose, who do I want to extend the offer to, the question is who in which room do you want excellence to be the standard? If you want excellence to be the standard, that's when you go to a Dwayne Darnell. If you're concerned about mediocrity, that's when you focus on the system of whiteness. And then Lowe reminds us that academia is one of the most political arenas in today's society, especially in athletics. And my brother said, man, I need to come on here more often. He said, I'm gonna hire y'all as my PR team. But I can answer the question. I can easily answer the question as to why my brother. And one of the things I want to say about my brother, which is I think is just absolutely amazing. It is just, it is fantastical. Like, it's hard to believe. But my brother has never played the game of basketball in his life. He was a baseball player at Jackson State University. He grew up with my father, who was a baseball coach, and they were athletes together. My brother was the statistician for Orman, am I saying his name right? Orsman Jordan, who was the coach at Murrah High School when my brother was at Murrah, and he became a protege of Coach Jordan. And so that's how he learned the game of basketball. But he himself never played the game of basketball, and yet he is the coach and has been the coach for over 25 years. How many years? Over 25 years, the girls' varsity coach. He has built teams. He has been to the championship more than once. He has won it more than once. He's the only coach in Florida that has won the championship in both the private sector and in the public arena. And here he is, 31 years he's been coaching. And so here my brother is not being extended the office because he is Wyclef Jean. My brother is gonna get the work. He's not getting ready to play with y'all because my brothers and I have two brothers. Dwayne is the middle child, Derek is the older, and I'm the baby. But all of us are cut from the same cloth, and that is LV Darnell, my daddy. And my daddy taught us that we are not to be scared of anybody. You are not to be afraid of anybody save God. That's what my daddy said. Not Jesus, not no white man not a spirit that we put into a body that we painted white and given blonde hair. No. But God, a force that's higher than you, that you turn to because you need more strength. The strength that you already have sometimes doesn't seem like it's enough. So there's another power out there that you can turn to that gives to you what you need so that you can push forward to get the work done. And so we grew up not being scared. We ain't never never scared. And so my brothers and I, we were a force when we were in Florida together. We are like that. We stand 10 toes down. We look you in the eye. We say what we mean. We mean what we say. Now they say it nicer than I do. I will say that. They have way more tact than I do. But we are not afraid of anybody. And so one of the things that has really burned me up during this election cycle is the numerous conversations I'm having with people where they're talking about, man, we hope that Donald Trump we better watch out, because if he don't win, them MAGA people, they're gonna be mad and they're gonna come after us. And I'm like, so what are you saying right now? So we supposed to be scared? I'm supposed to be scared because the MAGA folks scared? I'm supposed to be scared because MAGA people are up in arms? I'm supposed to be scared because the system of whiteness has now realized that they are no longer in control, so now I'm supposed to run and hide? I don't understand that. Especially we're talking about legends. We're talking about Quincy Jones as a legend. We're talking about my brother Dwayne as a legend. We're talking about Malcolm X as a legend. We're talking about Marcus Garvey as a legend. We're talking about Nat Turner as a legend. For those of us who are still black, some of us black on the outside, but not on the inside. For those of us who are still conscious, let me say that blood still runs in our veins. They never taught us to bow down. They never taught us to be scared. What are we worried about if he doesn't win? I promise you, I'm not worried. And I said to somebody yesterday, I was asking a question. I was asking a question. Why isn't there a contingency of black folks that white people are scared of? Why aren't there white people saying, well, you know what? If this happens, we're going to have to be careful because them black folks might come. Ain't nobody saying that. Nobody's worried about us doing anything because they are expecting us to be like, oh my, let me go duck and hide, or let me go in my prayer closet. But whatever it is, they are not expecting us to stand firm and fight. And so when you ask the question about why aren't legends given the glory that they deserve, especially when they are on earth, it's because people these days do not want to deal with that. Here go Anika. Let me get Dr. Anika Whitfield. She says, legacies are expecting us to vote wisely and trust God. Legends and legacies are expecting us to vote wisely and trust God. That's from Dr. Anika Whitfield. And so I'm interested in what you all have to say about that, because are you all having those conversations where people are scared of what white folks gonna do to them if their candidate doesn't win? Because I'm trying to tell you, I bet you I'm not scared. Hold on just a minute. As long as you are melanated, there are always going to be people mad at you and scared of you. As long as you are melanated, there are always going to be people mad at you and scared of you. Yeah, they might be scared of you in terms of when you walk down the street, they're gonna cross over on another side. But there's not a group of us, a collective. Let me talk about the MAGA people. There's a collective of folks who are making sure that you know how they stand, know how they feel, and know that they are willing to fight for their cause by any means necessary. Where is that group of black folks?
And I think there are.
I know that there are,
yeah,
but I'm talking about a contingency like this, a force like this, that's not afraid to go public, that's not afraid to be in the street, that's not afraid to let you know, that's not afraid to die if they have to. Hold on just a minute. Dr. Whitfield says God didn't give us a spirit of fear, but of power and love and a sound. You better quote Timothy. God did not give us a spirit of fear, but of power and love and a sound mind. And then Deidre says, I'm not scared, I'm armed equally. Okay. I'm not scared, I'm armed equally. Okay.
Like Kamala said, I got a gun. Break in my house and
see what happens.
And find out. But I think that I believe that contingency is out there. The one thing I found out over the past 8 years from Donald Trump to where we are right now, especially after George Floyd, I think there was a movement where black people got to a point and said, you know what, we're not going to put up with this anymore. And when you look at these MAGA folks, a lot they stay on the fringes. They stay on the fringes.
I don't agree with that.
Yeah, and when I say they stay on the fringes, you don't see MAGA folks come up into the hood, or I know some people don't like that term hood, but you don't see them come up in predominantly black neighborhoods talking about, we're gonna do this to you, do that to you. No, they don't.
They might not, but what also happens or does not happen is that Black people don't go into white neighborhoods because they're saying, well, if I go over there, this might happen to me. So I'm scared. Yeah, I got it locked. I got it on lock over here, but I'm not gonna go over there. And so to me, that is an element of fear. I feel like I can go wherever I want to go. There's no place on this earth that I am not welcome because of who I am as a human. That my humanity does not grant me access. So I'm not gonna be scared to go there. So it might be true that they stay away from us, but we also say, hey man, don't go over there. You better leave them people alone. Here's Dr. Whitfield saying, Deidre, she's talking to Deidre. So y'all having this conversation together, but I'm just putting it on the air. Deidre Levi, me too. I'm armed with love that never fails. Yeah. Deidre Levi, me too. I'm armed with love that never fails. And that is, okay, I'm gonna come back to that. Let's get low on here. The question that I have is, why are these knuckleheads continually being elected and re-elected when poor white, you also suffer the same repercussion? Okay, let me read it again. The question that I have, says Low, is why are these knuckleheads continually being elected and re-elected when poor white people, you are suffering the same repercussions? And then Deidre says, wait. What are you responding to, Deidre? Deidre says, neither does my AR-15. What you talking about? I got lost in the conversation. So tell me what you're talking about. My brother Wayne said he got to go to work. He got to go to work. Oh, she's talking to Anika. So Anika said, me too, armed with love that never fails. And then Deidre, you said, neither does she said, I'm armed with love that never fails. And so Deidre says, and my AR-15 never fails either. Okay, I got you now. So that's what she's saying.
And one thing, going back to what you just said, someone just commented about why are poor white people voting for these knuckleheads. And Isabel Wilkerson was on MSNBC, and she was talking about caste. And she said, one is, because the question to her was, why are people voting against their best interests? And she said they're not voting against their best interests. What they're voting is that they realize they're voting to try to hold on to the power structure that has lasted in this, that has existed in this country since its inception, that white people have this privilege, they have this power, they have this authority, and now they're looking that I'm losing it. So if I have to be bankrupt, if I have to live poor, and I'm talking about poor white people, if I have to be uneducated, if I have to have nothing, if the only thing I got to hold on to is this idea that as white, I'm at the top of the caste system, I'm at the top of the hierarchy. And that's the problem. That's one of the problems that's going on in this country. That's why it's such a contentious fight. If you look at what Donald Trump is saying, every word, him and J.D. Vance, every word out their mouths is racist. Everything they're talking about, they're pointing to, whether it's Haitian immigrants eating animals in Ohio. You look at, he's talking about Hispanic people as being invading this country and has spoiled the blood of this country. He's looking at black people like, is Kamala black? Is she this? And all this, everything is aimed towards white people to say that we have to save ourselves because all these other people of color and black are coming to take what you have.
And so Deidre says to us, the devaluation of whiteness is visceral for them. So the idea that you would take away our power, the idea that you would come for our power, the idea that you would tell the truth that we never really had the power, we just keep pretending that we have the power, that is visceral for them. I agree with everything that you're saying, and I want to bring black folks into the conversation. Because it's not just poor white people who are voting for or considering voting for Donald Trump. There are plenty of black folks that are considering voting for Donald
9%.
Trump. Not just black people, but especially Black men, and especially Black men who are Christian. And so when you begin to ask the question, why do you vote against your own best interest? And you say, well, white people, it's because they don't want to be devalued. They want to continue to remain at the top of this hierarchy, of this caste system that they have created on their lives, that continue to crumble right beneath. It's a house of cards that's crumbling right beneath them every single day, more and more. You've got Black people who worship that whiteness. You worship, because what you want, most of us as Black people, what you want is you want the same power. You're looking to get as close to whiteness as you can, because as soon as you are, you feel like, okay, now I have power. Now look, now watch what I'm going to do. Because these same men that I'm talking about, the Black men who are Christian in particular, when it comes to talking about reproductive justice, when it comes to talking about that, no, they don't want to vote for the abortion amendment, what they made us call the abortion amendment. They don't want to talk about that. They don't want to give women the right over their body because, God said. And then when you talk about voting for Kamala Harris, well, I can't vote for Kamala Harris because God said. And so you're not even looking at what you're really saying. You are rooting and grounding your ideology in your religion, which is coming from, has been misinterpreted to you, that you have been indoctrinated to believe is from a racist God. So you yourself are practicing the system of racism. You're not racist because you can't be, but you are practicing that system as Black folks. So I don't want to make any mistake that it's only white people who are voting against their best interest. And it's not just Black men, it's also Black women. I just wanted to make sure I said that about Black men, because they were the only ones that I encountered when I was collecting signatures that would not sign for a woman to have a right over her own body because they were holy. Okay, wait a minute. Here we go. Anika Whitfield. Many deceivers are good at deceiving. The same reason that people shop, eat, spend against their best interest is the reason why people vote against their best interest. We don't fully understand, don't want to understand or change. We are familiar, sometimes comfortable with being a victim. We are comfortable with being a victim. We are comfortable with being deceived. And so we are not realizing that we operate we living in a matrix. This is something that somebody has created. So Wyclef Jean says, tell the children the truth. Tell the children the truth. This race thing that we keep talking about is not real. It is something that was made up. Race is not real. It is a construct that was made up. Now, we cannot dismiss it because our whole lives have now been shaped and molded by that construct, but race itself does not exist. We got Ryan Day. All right, Reverend Davis, come on in. Dr. Whitfield, come on in. Sit down. Turn the mic off. Oh, I got the mic. I'm in charge of the mic. Hold on just a minute. So Reverend Ryan Davis says some of these Negroes don't want equality. They want an opportunity to be the oppressor. Yes, they want the power. Some of these Negroes don't want equality. They want an opportunity to be the oppressor. That being said, Black men are still the second most dependable Democratic constituency. Okay, well, yes, that is true. Here go Ryan Davis. Let's talk about the complexity.
I think it's Black women.
Right. Oh.
I think it's Black women.
Oh, so Tony is challenging on you on that. And we do have some evidence. We do have evidence from Georgia that will support Tony on that, Ryan. So what do you have to say about that? And then here comes Lo saying, those who say that does not, they don't need to put that on God. Many of us don't need to put what we put on God. I bet God sometimes like, why don't you leave me out of this? I ain't got nothing to do with that. So I agree with you. We shouldn't put it on God. Oh, look at Stafara. That's what I'm saying it right. Stafara. Muhammad. Here she is. Hey, tell the children the truth. That's what Wyclef Jean says. Tell them the truth. And then here is Deidre again. I have yet to hear a logical explanation from a Black person who is voting for Trump, which to me indicates mental illness from assimilation into a culture that is an antithesis to their existence. I have yet to hear a logical explanation from a Black person who is voting for Trump, which to me, let me slow down, indicates mental illness from assimilation into a culture that is an antithesis to their existence.
I think one thing that I look at is that one of the things that we have become comfortable with is blame. It's whether it's on the white side, whether it's on the Black side. I think when you are able to continually, just like what Trump has done, is look at people and tell people this this is the reason, this is the blame you can put your life on. This is the blame, this is the thing that has caused this in your life. And when you tell the truth, truth takes away blame. Because what truth does is make you stare it in the face and make you make you make a choice. You have to make a decision when it comes to the truth. Am I gonna be accountable for the truth I just heard, or I'm going to dismiss the truth and go back and continue blaming everything else on what's going on in my life? Because I think you are right, Denise. As Black people, we have we have an opportunity to stand and move forward. Stand and move forward if we come together collectively. And I think that's one of the problems when we start talking about Black Republicans. They look and say, you know what? You Democrats are the reason why us Black people can't progress. You Democrats are the reason why Black people are still at the bottom. And you turn around and say, for real? Because isn't Clarence Thomas, a Republican making these decisions? Isn't Tim Scott a Republican making these decisions that helping keep it not only you, but helping keep it all Black people down?
So I think that we have to talk about this dependency thing, because I really agree with you that we are talking about. Wait, hold on, let me get this comment in. Here's Deidre. Everything we are talking about boils down to white inhumanity. MAGA white skin does not protect them from inhumanity. Everything we are talking about boils down to white inhumanity. That's what I call this system. Absolutely. And when we're talking about dependency, we're talking about Black folks. We have for those people who are talking about, we are dependent. We have decided that we want somebody else to do something for us, right? Like we're expecting the government to make sure that we have access to healthcare. We're expecting the government to make sure that we have adequate housing. We are expecting the government. But what we continue to fail to realize is that the power rests in the hands of the people. We have the power over the government. How do you have the power over the government? It is through your vote. And so one of the ways that we have been deceived, Dr. Whitfield was talking about deception, one of the ways that we have been deceived is to believe that the vote doesn't matter. But that is a way to deceive you, to keep you away from the box, because as long as you are away from the box, you are not wielding your power. So some of us as Black people are saying, well, I ain't gonna vote because it don't matter, because it does matter. If it did not matter, they would not continue to come for your vote. If it did not matter, they would not have stopped you from early voting on Saturday and Monday. Why did they take they would not have stopped you from early voting on Monday. Why did they take that day away? All of these taxes. Why have they made it a crime in some states to give somebody that's in line to vote water or food? Like, why do they continue to do all of these things? To the gerrymandering, I don't care which party it is. All of these tactics that they use to keep you from voting, to me, that is a clear indication that there must be some power in the vote. And so what Cliff John says, you ought to vote in somebody that will signal to the masses that I'm dangerous, that I am because I'm about to upend the system as we know it, and I'm about to usher in justice. I'm about to usher in equality. He said all Black people need reparations. All of the faiths that are practiced need to be able to honor and celebrate who it is that they believe in. All of this needs to happen with the redistribution of wealth. And everybody ought to have access to Air Force One. Why? Because John says the power of the vote gives you the opportunity to change the world, instead of sitting back waiting on Kamala to do it, sitting back waiting on Trump to do it. Because regardless of who gets into the office, the way that the system is set up, they don't have absolute power. The president does not have absolute power. So I ain't gonna come because Biden didn't do that. What Biden gonna do without Congress? So sometimes we open our mouths. You said some people I have yet to give me a logical reason. It's because we are speaking from a place of ignorance. Once somebody says something like that, Biden didn't do this. Biden can't do anything by himself. So if you decide not to vote today, you say, well, I don't want to vote for Biden. Look how many other people you are avoiding that's on their same ticket. You are not voting for yourself locally. You are not voting for your best interest all across the board, because you think Biden and you think Kamala and Donald Trump will have the power. And that's not the case. So we've got to realize and reclaim who we are as powerful people, and that power comes through our vote.
Can I share something?
Absolutely,
Thank you
please.
for allowing me to be on here spontaneously, but I was listening to you on the radio on my way back home, and I just felt a fire that wasn't gonna shut up in my bones. It really felt like Jeremiah, right? That God wasn't gonna leave me. So I came up here to say yes. We need to say yes. We need to vote. 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 We need to vote because our children, many of our children cannot vote. Many of our children's children cannot vote. Many of our children's children cannot vote. But we are voting because we care about them. Just like our ancestors cared about us. Just like our ancestors went to the polls and paid those taxes. Just like they went to those polls and answered those questions. Why? Not because they didn't think that they were human. Not because they thought they deserved that mistreatment. Because they were thinking about us. So we got to do our job. We've got to get to the polls. We've got to help people to get to the polls. When you were talking about voter suppression, Reverend Dr. Denise Donnell, I thought about yesterday and how, yes, our state decided to roll back the locations of where people could go vote on the Monday before election, so that people would have to stand in line. So you all know how many times my mom went to go vote yesterday? You could vote yesterday only. You could vote yesterday only at your election commission places or some places there, county. So yesterday, people were allowed to, I believe in the morning until 5 p.m. And so we're lined up. My mother went to the polls three times yesterday. My mother takes care of my dad who is at home in hospice care, and she wanted to vote early. And there were just always mitigating circumstances that kept her from being able to go before yesterday. So she was determined to get there yesterday, but she couldn't wait in line that long. So she's going today to vote. But my point is, it was so unnecessary to shut down all the other voting and polling places on Monday. Why? That is a form of suppression. But thanks be to God. I looked at Ryan Davis's page this morning and saw he had over 2,000 views because he was showing the feet of those. Beautiful are the feet of those that carry the good news, right? These were folks waiting in line at the 5 o'clock hour. So as long as you were at the polls tonight, by 7:30, if you are in line and there is a line, stay there because you have a right to vote. I also heard this morning on the news, I was over at Dr. Martin Luther King Leadership and Language Academy, which is where my child goes to school, and there was a wonderful, and I won't shout out her name, but there's a wonderful employee staff member there that was going from class to class saying, if you have not voted yet, I will sit in on your class because it's a state law that your boss has to allow you to go vote if you have not voted yet. If you have a hindrance or some reason why you can't get to the polls by 7:30 and need to go during the work hour, there is a state law, and they brought it up on Channel 11 News this morning. I didn't fact check it, but they said they did. So they showed their fact checker that it is the state law. So we want to encourage you this morning. I feel the fire from Tony. I feel the fire from Pastor Tony and from Reverend Dr. Denise Donnell. Why are we so impassioned about voting? Because our livelihood depends on it. Not just today, not just tomorrow, but our grandchildren, our great-grandchildren, our great-great-grandchildren. And we don't have any excuses to make. When we go to the polls, that's not the end of the sentence. That is a comma in our lives. We have to hold people accountable after the day of election. We have to hold people accountable every day that they are in office, and we've got to hold ourselves accountable. Do we want to allow people to represent us with misrepresentation? I was listening to the radio on yesterday, you all, and I wanted to holler, scream, and yell because Joan Adcock has an ad out saying how she loves the neighborhood and community. Where was Joan Adcock loving the neighborhood and community in Granite Mountain when she brought people from Mountain View and Mountain Home and Harrison and Jesseville to threaten not only me but everybody else in Little Rock by saying they wanted to hold on to the Confederacy? I had to remind them that the Union won. Yes, we know that that is history, but you do not have to oppress people but you do not have to oppress people who live in Granite Mountain, driving down Spring Boulevard to be on Confederate Boulevard. That makes no sense. Or to drive, I'm sorry, that was at the train track. That was at the train track at that where Confederate Boulevard ended. Where Confederate Boulevard ended. Joan Adcock, no ma'am, you are deceiving people. You are lying when you say you were for neighborhoods and communities. You might be for some communities, but not the ones that have been oppressed by the Confederacy, by the mindset that you have continue to carry
We
on.
need to get
We
people
need to get
elected in
people
office
elected in
who
office
care
who care
about
about
us
moving us forward
in love, and justice, and in liberation. And those are the people that we not only need to elect, those are the people that we need to be, so that we can prepare ourselves to be in offices, so that we can be the change we want to see in this world.
Let me get these comments in. So you have Low saying, that is the reason for intimidation, the reason for killing, burning, and lynching you black folks. If the vote did not matter, we would not go through all of these things. We would recognize your power up in here. Did you even know if I fixed the echo? I was working on the echo. And then here is Reverend Davis. Of course, a party run by people is imperfect, but as in looking at who is part of the party's coalition, environmentalists, labor unions, LGBTQIA siblings, body autonomy advocates, civil rights organizations, and then I look at the coalition of the other party, white supremacists, corporate vultures, misogynists, etc., etc. Who do we want as people who love and lift up? Who do we, as people who love and lift up people on the margins, stand a chance of pushing in our direction? And so what is Brian Davis? Let me break it down. It's a lot. I think I did read right. So basically, Brian Davis is like, okay, if you're trying to decide on who to vote, don't just look at the person, but look who's behind the person. Look who is supporting the person. Look at the coalition that they have built. And when you think about the coalitions that have been built, think about every aspect of your life that's being represented by members of this coalition. So it gives you an opportunity to push for greater freedom, because you got people working across every spectrum on the Harris side. But then when you look on the Trump side, who do you see? You see supremacists. You see the inhumane. You see the system of white being high and lifted up and glorified. You see corporate vultures. You see misogynists. So if you're having trouble figuring out who you want to vote for, look behind the curtain, because that's just as important as who the face is. And that's the suggestion that Reverend Davis is offering to us on today.
Which side are you
Davis is
on?
and so then Kenyon says, what has John
Which side are you
done for
on?
Black neighborhoods as far as infrastructure? Well, you know what? I already knew. If you drive east on Cantrell Road, if you're driving east on Cantrell Road toward downtown, there is a huge billboard on the right that is for Joan Adcock, and what she says is, I'm endorsed by the Fraternal Order of Police. Right there. You can stop right there. And then she talks about the firefighters. But if you are endorsed by the Fraternal Order of Police for Black people, that's your signal right there.
Yes, it
That
is.
is your.
That's the hat in the air.
That's
That's the hat
that's
in
the
the air.
hat in the air. And so you have got to again. Well, I don't remember. I think it might have been you, Dr. Whitfield, but we have. And then Safara was like, we got to tell the truth. Stop telling these lies that we are living in a post-racial society. Stop telling lies about we have realized Dr. King's dream, where we are now being looked at by we are being judged by the content of our character rather than the color of our skin. All of those are lies. Dr. King had a dream, and it is still a dream because it is yet to manifest now, because we are not doing our job. I tell people this all the time. I don't vote, going back to what something that Dr. Nika Whitfield said. I don't vote because I want to vote for a party. I don't vote for a Republican. I don't vote for a Democrat. I vote because the blood that I carry in my cells.
Yes.
All right. The fact when I cannot even, I think about it, and one of the things that Dr. Georgia Grew asks us to do is not just think about our history, but try to embody it. Try to put yourself in the experience and feel in your body what it would be like to be whipped and burned alive, and then your neck breaks from the noose from your body, the weight of your body hanging from that noose. What would that feel like in your body to walk out of your door and smell the stench of the strange fruit that's hanging from that tree? What would that feel like in your body to not be able to vote for somebody telling you that you are not worthy, that you got to pass a poll? I have right now in my phone a copy of the poll tax that my daddy had to pass. I'm not talking about my great-granddad. I'm not talking about my great-great-great-granddad. I'm talking about my daddy. What would that feel like? And when I think about what that feels like, there's no way I would stay away from the ballot box. I don't care what party you belong to. There's no way that I would not exercise my rights, my constitutional right that was fought and paid for, and the blood still runs more because we have not given justice to our ancestors. So you better vote for your vote.
And then you also have to look at it from a broader perspective also, you know, it's not only black people
Mhm.
who are being suppressed in that vote.
Yeah.
White people are being suppressed
Everybody's
also.
doing
And you know, as you were speaking, Denise, as you were talking, I thought about the 3 freedom riders
Mhm.
that got killed in Philadelphia.
Yeah, yeah.
You
Two
know,
white men
2 white
and a
men.
black man.
You know, and they killed them because they were helping
Yes.
black
Right.
people. Yeah, and if you look at, you know, that's why I love that EJI did this, because they had a law that if you were white,
Mhm.
if you taught a black person to read, or you taught, or you helped a black person in certain ways, that you can be in prison, that you can be punished. And so, you know,
And I like what you just said, Pastor Tony, that they had a law. Because to be clear, many of the laws that were passed without our permission. Because
Yes.
we didn't have a
We didn't have
right.
a
we didn't have a right.
Right.
We didn't have a
And
right.
so to be clear, many of the laws that we talk about, the draconian laws, we did not approve of not one of them because we didn't have a right to vote for
We
any
weren't
of
included
them.
in the process.
We weren't included.
And now you are included in the process and you deny yourself the access to the process that was granted to you by your ancestors. Let me get this in from
Some of
Reverend
those
Davis. Hold on
laws
just
are
a minute.
still on the books.
Yeah, they still on the books and they still revert to them. So here's Reverend Davis. Like Tupac said, you ain't without your homies. Like black people say, who all over there with y'all? Who all over there with y'all? Like the text say, can two walk together except they be agreed? So all of these different ways, from all these different avenues, to talk to us about the importance of coming together with the power of our vote. Here, hold on just I gotta use the phone.
Yeah, just hit the speaker.
What?
Hit the speaker.
What is speaker? Right here. Cut this off. I don't know.
We can't quite hear you.
Okay, caller, please call back. That's my fault. We're doing
Okay.
something different with the phones and I'm not aware. And so please call back. Please call back. We've got 2 minutes, maybe a minute by the time you call back. And we do want to hear what you have to say. It sounds like it might have been with the phone. So please call in. So Tony, you were saying that some of those laws are still on the book. And because they are still on the book, we are living in times they will go back. We are living in laws from
they will go back.
because you all need to know that one of the things that you talked about earlier, Tony, you said that Trump was asking if Kamala is black or not. And the reason why is because you had a contingency, the Republican Federation, the National Federation of Republican Assemblies, they filed a document saying that Kamala Harris, Vice President Kamala Harris, was not fit because this law that way said that black people were not fit to run for office. And so they keep them on the books so that they can use them for such a time as this. And unless we use the power of our vote to get these people out and replace them with people who are progressive minded, who are forward thinking, who are concerned about justice rather than humanity, we're going to keep going down the same path.
Mhm.
We're going to keep going. Oh, maybe is your phone muted and is your mic off?
I don't know.
You cut your mic off of your phone. all the
Cut
way
your
down.
mic off of your phone.
Okay, that should cover that.
I'm sorry about
And I probably should have told you that.
Yeah.
But it's 9:59.
that. And can I just wanted to say, as you were talking about the attack on her ethnicity, let us not forget that it was the same Donald Trump and those people that financially support him that were challenging always President Obama's nationality,
Absolutely.
right? And so we understand what the game is. You divert our attention from what is true to diverting us to something that is deceptive, and we get stuck on the deceptive note rather than the truth. And the truth is, any way you slice it, up way, down way, sideways, upside down ways, Kamala Harris's ethnicity is not what's at stake here.
No.
No,
What's
your
at
livelihood
stake
is at
is our
stake.
livelihood.
That's
So
what's at stake.
let's be clear that when we go to the polls, as you said, we don't want to be like the spectators who are watching people get hung. We want to be the people that are cutting folks down and saying, no more will we hang and lynch people in this country that we call the United States of America. We want to be the people that go to the polls and say, no more are we going to offer injustice to people because of their identity or because of their ethnicity or because of their culture. No longer are we going to stand for evil to be the primary.
We're gonna move in love. So let's go vote. Let's go vote. Get your neighbors, get your family members, get your cousins, your sorority, fraternity members, your faith leaders and your faith members. Get out and vote, 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 vote.
We gotta get out of here.
Yeah.
Well, we gotta get out of here. For those of you who have not voted, we want to make sure that you know how important it is for you to vote today. You've got until 7, somebody said 7:30, to make sure you vote at your appointed poll place. You cannot just vote anywhere. You have to go to the voting place where you have been assigned so that you can vote on this day. This is the last day that you have to vote. Vote your conscience. We can't wait to see what unfolds on tonight, and we'll be ready to talk about it on Thursday. But your girl Lola is standing in the door ready for 2 hours of jazz that's going to motivate you even more to make people listen to it on your way to the polls. 7:30. You have until 7:30. Reverend Davis, you have until 7:30 confirmed it to make sure that you vote today at your regular polling place. You have to go to the place where you have been assigned.
And you can't stand the rain. You can't stand the rain. So get out there.
Y'all see I'm trying. Y'all see I'm trying. Right? Y'all see I'm trying. I know I should cut their mics off. That's what I should do. Let me just cut their mics off. We're going to go to the town hall and just start cutting off mics. Your girl Lola is right here to give you more inspiration, more motivation, more power, more encouragement to go out and vote. And we're going to get her started with Cynthia Erivo singing Stand Up right here from the motion picture of Harriet Tubman. We'll see y'all next time.
I'm so glad you stopped by. That was excellent.
Yeah, only